Hey Scott, have you seen any plans for that? Any new updated plans for hardwood?
For what?
Hardwood flats over there?
Nope.
I just got hoping to make an outside for hardwood flats.
I gotta put that next year when I do water.
Kind of cool.
Exclusive provided.
If you think of a, how many acres that, so.
Well, we need to go somewhere else.
Parking
So, you built roads and towers and pipes to get to your service. I said, we can make a new side water system coming off my ground. So, if we get users, we buy it from us. So that's what we got. About 2 months worth. I think the August and September billing just came through. So it's about $300 a month for that service just during the season for the marina. So 5-6 months out of the year.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor of the consent agenda, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Consent agenda is approved. Message from the mayor, council, and city manager. City manager.
2 items. I'm sure you've all noticed that KNR is aggressively replacing a lot of sidewalks around town. There are some that are, we're almost doing an entire block, some 2 or 3 panels. Some areas, like on this corner here, we're just going to remove the sidewalk and put dirt back in. I mean, it's a sidewalk that covers one piece of property and doesn't go anywhere. So they've been pretty aggressive at that, tearing things up. And we did receive word from the Arts and Culture Council from the state of Michigan that Beth and Cindy Beth did receive an $18,000 grant for the summer theater next year. And that's all I have.
Steve.
I have nothing tonight.
I have nothing to
Nothing?
I have a question. Did we sign off on Wilshire Drive as far as it being completed?
We have not. We're still retaining about $80,000. We have had some other contractors go in there and do some of the work that the primary contractor hasn't completed. So we're still hanging on to that money, and Brian is pushing Alec to get those punch list items completed. If not, we'll go in and we'll deduct the cost from that final payment.
I mean, it's still, everybody's yard is still a mess up there. I don't know if it's the dirt they used, if it's the seed they used or whatever. I don't know if Brenda paid for the second one herself or if they came and did hers a second time for.
They came and fixed their sprinkler system.
Oh,
Haven't done anything to the grass yet.
There's nothing but weeds growing up there.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay if we can still get seed planted early October, because then you've got the fall rainy season before the weather hits. You get a little germination.
And there is one house, well, the house beside Brenda, Sue Uziek's house. I can't remember her address right off the top of my head, but they put a new culvert underneath her driveway, and every time it rains, it washes out. I can't understand why it's washing out. Where it washes out on the top and the side of it, and it's been that way for probably 2.5, 3 weeks now. Because I mow her lawn, and it goes. The washout goes all the way back to where the old culvert ended at, which was like 2 inches out from under her driveway. Now they have the corrugated, pipe coming out like probably 3.5 feet past her driveway, and the whole side of it keeps washing out. They've tried to fix it themselves 3 times and bought bags of dirt and filled it in with dirt and planted grass seed, and it just keeps washing out. So it's.
Well, I'll have Brian take a look at that.
The know, all the sand that keeps washing out is laying down in the middle of the ditch now. I
Mhm.
mean, it's pretty easy to see.
Okay,
Okay, that's all I have.
Reminder of fire department open house, cause Keith's not here. Thursday night, 9/28 from 5 to 8. Show up, look at the new fire station, look at the new truck. It's a 1-1. Finally made it. It's not better or anything, but it's sitting there, looks pretty. So, I know they got a lot of activities for the kids, everything else. Scott can take a fire truck ride if he wants. Yeah, you.
Me?
Yeah, take a fire truck ride. That's all I have.
Out and about, talking with people, I've asked a lot, when is the Mears project going to be done? Do we have a final estimated date?
it's still on schedule to be done by November 15th. That's always the magic fall date, coincides with
With the asphalt
opening season and the asphalt plant's closing.
and also the Colby Sewer project, isn't that about the same
I think
time
that,
frame?
yep, I think that's looking at a mid-November completion.
I've been telling them the truth. All right, next up is public comment. Anyone want to speak, please, come forward.
Kathy Cook. I'm here today for the band boosters of Whitehall High School. I am the vice president of that. And every year we do a big fundraiser of Tag Day, and we usually are at the corner of Mears and Colby, and then downtown or down south of that, which our second location is in the construction zone. So we are respectfully requesting to go to Warner Street instead. So we can either go to Warner and Alice and hit traffic coming from the back center. This will be Saturday morning from, I believe it's either 8 or 9 till noon. And, or maybe Benston and Warner as our second location. And so we're respectfully asking, I thought we were going to be put on the agenda, but I don't see that. So
Would have certainly asked the chief to
see if we could get a second,
you have a
change this.
preference for where they would be.
so that we're not standing in the construction zone and getting zero traffic. So, thank you.
Is that this weekend?
It is this weekend, it's Saturday.
Okay.
I think we need to come to some sort of final agreement here.
Yeah.
Yes, you previously approved the tag day at the 2 locations, as Ms. Cook mentioned. She's asking for one of them to be changed. Mears and Maine
Yes,
to be changed.
I would think personally, Alice and Warner would be a safer intersection than Benston and Warner.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
We have a motion and a second to change the location from Mears and Maine to Alice and Warner. Is there any further discussion on that? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed say no. Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else want to speak? Here's not. Okay, old business. Do we have any old business?
No, sir.
No old business. New business. Resolution 2334, early voting site.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution, 23-24 early, voting site,
2334.
2334, too many 3s and 4s in there. Yeah, that one.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, questions, comments?
Too bad we can't make the people that voted for all this early voting pay for it.
I agree with that.
I wonder if people knew that it was gonna be this expensive to do this when they voted for all this.
Well-
This is just a boondoggle, if you ask me.
No.
Price is the price, and I'm no more excited about it either, but my biggest reservation about this is the way this is getting structured disproportionately disadvantages our community in my view,
I
because
agree.
we've got an early voting location that's incredibly conveniently located for some people in other parts of the county that we're helping pay for, but it's not even in our community. My estimation is people in the city of Whitehall utilizing this will range somewhere between minuscule and zero.
Is there any way we get numbers on that, Brenda?
Absolutely.
That'd be nice to know.
And it's only for state and federal, and at this point, we're looking at it as, it's another option for voters. It's not, like a given that they're going to use this, it's just another opportunity.
Yep.
And we're not alone. I mean, it's Muskegon, it's at Baker College, so there's all kinds of municipalities that's not right in your neighborhood. It's the most feasibly,
Convenient.
financially responsible to do it that way.
I don't know if it said in there, but who does the counting then?
Mhm.
Our people don't do the counting, do they?
Pardon me?
Our people from we don't actually count the votes then, they're actually. counted at
Absolutely
the
not.
county
They're gonna be collected through that 9 days of voting, and then everything will be tallied that the night of the election. So all of that information will be stored and then released that night. So it won't be released before then.
I wonder with all these different municipalities participating, if the location could rotate.
Well, that's
So-
what we're gonna look at. We're gonna look at first how much it's going to be used, and just what makes sense going forward. I mean, we have to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and starting off, we have to at least do it in a way that can be afforded by the county and us, each municipality, and then going forward, we're gonna see what makes sense. We may break it up into 3 locations.
Because I know
North,
if we were
south, and
asking like Muskegon Township and City of Muskegon voters to come up to Whitehall to early vote, they'd raise holy heck. And that's how I feel in with the situations reversed.
Well, we're as Brenda stated, we're not really asking people to go down to Baker
No.
College to vote. That is an option,
It's an option.
and
We're paying for it anyway, even if nobody goes there.
because we have
We have to. It's in the Constitution now,
It's-
so I don't have a choice.
Yeah. we either pay $8,500 for something that's not conveniently located, or $63,000 to be more conveniently located.
Or something, we should just say, we're just not gonna do early voting.
And then you'll see me in jail.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
I'll see it.
Yeah, I know, you will see
I'll
me.
feed you, Brenda.
So there's no way for
There's no
any of the
opt-out.
other cities or townships to like opt out of it or whatever?
There's no opting out.
You're
If you're not doing it, you're in trouble.
paying for it.
And a lot of the counties are doing it this way. I mean, consolidating. And if they're not, if the county isn't offering to help the municipalities, then the municipalities are collaborating together without the county to make sure that it's, they can afford it. It's a huge expense. So we're not alone. What's that?
I wanna recount the original.
There are 2 government entities
Yes,
in the
2
county
of
that
the,
have chosen to do it on their own. Houghton and the city of
and
Muskegon.
Dalton,
Dalton.
Muskegon,
Houghton. Houghton Township and Dalton Township have decided to go it alone.
We're gonna spend the 63,000.
Theirs will probably be higher, maybe. I'm not sure what their voting registered voters numbers are, and if they have 1 or 2 precincts, probably wouldn't have 3.
No, yeah, they each have 1, but they have to buy all the equipment that they're gonna need. So.
I don't trust it.
Now, Brenda, after the election, this information, I mean, because obviously when people go in, they're registering just like any other polling place. So we will be able to have the information as far as how many from the
Right,
city of Whitehall
right.
actually use that.
yep, we will be able
And I'll be
to
more
know.
curious to
I
see
will
what
too.
that number is.
So this document that we have, the early voting agreement,
Mhm.
lists the municipalities, and I guess they're calling them registered electors. So that's how many people that
Are
in those
registered to vote.
municipalities have
Yeah.
registered to vote in this election.
Correct, currently.
It's not population, it's,
Correct, it's registered voters.
it'd be interesting to know the difference between the population and the registered voters.
They're always coming in and out daily.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're right at 2,900 population.
At the census,
With
yeah.
about 2,500 registered voters, so it's actually a pretty high number.
Yeah.
Well, Whitehall does have an older population as well.
Right.
Well, I noticed you did highlight the no fixed termination date, so we can try to revise or withdraw at any future date if we're so inclined.
Yeah, I think they had, I don't know why that they had that highlighted, but basically we're locked into a cycle, so for the 2024, we're locked into that one for those 3 elections, so.
Well, in the future, my one request would be try to get on some sort of fixed rotation, so that, okay, maybe 1 year it's in Muskegon, the following year it's in Ravenna, maybe Montague after that, and if the people down in metropolitan Muskegon don't like the commute, well, hey, we don't like it either, so.
All right, is there any further discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Malali,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes,
Sittenfeld,
No,
Salter.
Yes. Resolution 2334 is approved. Next is resolution 2335, Township Water Service Agreement.
Make a motion to accept 2335 as written.
second?
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Anyone need any explanation from staff?
Seems like I had gone through this and I don't find it right now, I should have marked it. But is there something in here that, is the township actually looking to expand water service? I know right now we pretty much just covered, the
Yeah,
Kobe, Kobe Road.
well,
and,
that's where the service currently is. And we'll test your eyesight.
Oh,
The green area is currently covered in the current agreement, which expires. They had also discussed possibly extending up into the blue area, which is where you have the wells contaminated from the former wastewater treatment plant. So what we did is we looked at this and said, well, what's left? A couple of homes, I'm pointing come over here, over by Owaspee Lake. So the actual service just basically goes under the freeway out to Walmart and a little bit north. Drawing a blank as to what that street is.
So Creek Road?
Yes, yep. So the township, to answer your question, they are giving serious consideration to extending the water up to those contaminated wells. The County Resource and Recovery Center, formerly known as Wastewater Treatment Plant, is responsible for charcoal filters and bottled water for all those residents, as well as monitoring they've got a number 18 monitoring wells out there. So what they're looking at is whether or not it would be safer and cheaper to extend municipal water up there. They did apply for a state revolving loan fund, and there's just not even close to getting enough points in order to get that funded. So they would have to consider whether or not they want to pay for that out of pocket, if they want to do it sooner than later. So that's the only real expansion that's currently being discussed. But this agreement would allow them to expand their system, because everything in the township is their system. It's just connected to ours.
right.
But they could expand anywhere they want.
So at this point, there's not really any talk about
No,
Whitehall Road to the subdivisions.
nope, not at all. In fact, we'd probably come out either Benston or Alice versus coming down Whitehall Road. Yeah, we actually have a little mini loop behind the former Dell's Plaza back there, because we went to part of it and then the other part, and they were both dead ends, so there's actually a water line behind it.
So do you have any idea of just just a ballpark figure, what it would cost for them to, have that extension up to the contaminated areas? You heard any numbers?
I do, I have, but I didn't store them up here.
Just,
I can send that number out.
yeah, I'd be interested to know what it would cost, what they're looking at. I mean, is
Yeah,
it $50 million? Is it
Pardon?
5 million? Is it 50 million? Is it 5
Oh, no,
million?
it's
Is it?
probably a couple of million, but I will double check on that.
All right. Any further comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes,
Siginda,
Yes.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Malali,
Yes.
Salter.
Yes. Resolution 2335 is approved. Next up is resolution 2329.
I'll move for the approval of resolution 2329 amended.
Second.
Moved in second, is there any questions? Comments?
I have one question, what was it called? Fish platform or something like that. Fish dock, renovated ADA fishing dock.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same fishing dock that we're planning on repairing yet this year?
Cool.
At the,
Well,
we always say it's at the marina, but
Yeah, it's in Goodrich Park, and maybe as a short explanation, we had the site visit late last week from the DNR staff, and G Park had scored 95 points out of 250. It's not good, and 130 out of 250 for Goodrich Park, and actually we lost. They always encourage multiple applications, but we're ineligible for 25 points on G Park because we submitted multiple grants and we prioritized Goodrich Park. So right there, the best we can do is 225. But Alexandria Galloway was phenomenal as far as coming out, taking a look, making a lot of suggestions. We had originally planned to put in 2 ADA parking spaces at G Park, but that would not qualify for maximum points because the standard is 1 ADA for every 25 regular parking spaces. Since we had no regular parking spaces, the ADA 1 to 25 didn't count. So we adjusted that, added some parking, so now we'll have 1 for every 1, which is way beyond the 1 for 25. We had also, you had already approved replacing the lights down at Goodrich Park and along the walkway. So when I was discussing that with Alexandria, telling her we're taking that out, she goes, what about this fishing dock? And I said, well, we're already looking to bid that out. She goes, don't. Put it in the grant because the key this year is renovation. So you see that word used a lot. Of accessibility. So that is going to be the renovation of an accessible fishing platform. And, you know, she didn't say do these and you get funded, but that's definitely going to boost up our score quite a bit with a lot of these changes. Unfortunately, you know, there was a lot of numbers that had to change for Goodrich Park, but the bottom line is going from a $83,000 project up to a $138,000 project. We're still going to save about $24,000, just being creative with the numbers. With G Park, I kept the total the same so that we didn't have to go back and do a lot of amendments there, but there was some massaging there. We had intended to put a perimeter fence around the park because we have a couple of property owners that thinks that's their backyard and that's where they go in and out with their trailers. But in order to get the parking lot, accessible sidewalks, we had to make some adjustments. So we lose the fencing, but we increase it with the ADA compliant structure. And forgetting the term that the state uses. As far as fall protection, they do not consider the rubberized chips or the engineered wood fiber chips as universal design. It has to be the port in place. Which we added that to Goodrich Park because we can. At G, we can't because we've already got a play structure with the engineered wood fibers. We're just going to extend that and put in another piece of equipment. But as you know, we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, that is extremely expensive. So it was it was encouraging from her enthusiasm and her ideas, but discouraging when I came back and ran the numbers because a lot of times to get more state money, you tend to spend more of your own money. But here, you know, like I said, with a little creative math, we're going to do better if we get this funded.
When will they make their determination?
I think I sent out an email about that not too long ago. Fall, probably late fall. But we should, typically I think they say October 1st, but that's not, I mean, that's our deadline right now for supplemental information. So hopefully before the end of the year so that we can start getting all the plans done, the bid documents done, and do spring projects.
All right. Thank you for that.
So my apologies, that was a much longer explanation. And as always, we really hate doing amended agendas, but obviously the supplemental information is due by Saturday, and Alexandria had some great ideas.
So, we were thinking before that we were gonna get the fishing platform done yet this year, we will not be doing that now, correct?
It'll probably be spring. I don't know how much work they can do late fall or early winter. The primary factor in that is going to be we're going to go deeper with the footings so that we, you know, if there is high water and ice again, that it can take a little more pressure. So just depending on when the frost starts pushing down, whether or not we can get to it. A lot of that work can probably be done in the winter time. And again, depending on when we get the award, we can get it bid out. So it will be delayed, but if we can get the state to pay for it,
Yep.
unlike voting, then that's a good thing.
Is that fishing, what do we call it, dock, platform?
Mhm.
Is it going to be significantly different in size? I know that they're gonna put ADA accessibility towards it, but is it gonna look significantly different than what it does now, other than
It'll be new and level. Yeah, it's just the ADA ramp. Right now we kind of go down and turn. Instead, it's going to be further down with a more gentle slope. And it'll go right into the deck versus kind of, what is that, a left-hand turn?
Okay. All right. I think we've got enough on that. So, roll call, please.
Connell,
Yes.
Sittenguth,
Yes.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Mullally,
Yes.
Salter.
Yes. Resolution 2329 is approved. Next up is public comment.
There, Tammy Cavallo, 714 Alice. Hey, I have a question, and Scott, maybe you have an answer to this. So who's looking to pay to possibly extend the water line to the Mill Pond folks, the Silver Creek area,
The
township?
well, I mean, it's going to be a township
grants,
project,
yeah.
but the primary motivator
Yeah.
and finance behind it would be the county wastewater system.
They would be the ones doing the project?
Well, they would have contractors,
Okay.
but they would do the financing and they would do the project management. Well,
To-
Pioneer Newhoff would do the project management.
To extend it to those homes that have
Yep.
been,
Because it's the former wastewater treatment plant where they
Yeah.
designated that, not designated.
well, I mean.
Determined that's where the flows came from and the contamination came
Okay.
from.
Okay. Well, and my question is, and maybe this is like way too long time has elapsed, but the contaminants in those homes, what left the wastewater property was specifically due to Muskegon Coke Chemical. And I just wondered if, was there any effort by the county to make them responsible? I mean, they contaminated the entire site. off-site in people's homes? I mean,
That I don't know.
okay, well, that's something I'll follow up on. I just always wondered why they were not held responsible for that, because it was, they made very specific chemicals, and those were the chemicals that eluded the treatment system, ended up in the groundwater outside of in the facility, outside of the facility, untreatable, and in people's homes. And I do think it's a better option than having filtered water like that. There was actually an episode in 1990 when the county forgot to do that. I don't know if you remember that, Scott.
I don't know if the county forgot or
The county forgot. Yeah, I'll
I won't say it. You can.
Okay, I have no problem saying that. I'll unearth those documents because it was interesting. But it's just it's sad that those people built out there in that beautiful area had their wells contaminated and have to use bottled water. You know, and it also is, you know, kind of affects their resale as well. So I hope they do get water. So that'd be the least I would expect. So anyway, just point of interest there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
You guys know my name, Lily Morningstar, 912 Lakeview Street, Whitehall, Michigan. Couple of things. There was a dead bird in my road. Somehow it ended up on my property by the mailbox. However, picked it up off the road, put it on my property. So sat there for about a week. So this week the garbage went in the garbage. Nobody's there to pick up that with me. But then today I went to get out my car, go out the road, up on the hill, someone's half-eaten roll. I said, what is this? It's spilled roll. I said, they think my property's garbage city or something? So I don't know who's doing it. I don't know whether, typical anybody could have gone by with threw it right out the window, down the road. But it's the respect of the whole community to keep it clean, and here I'm stuck picking up someone else's garbage. Another thing is, those guys came today and they put this metal plaque. I think it's by that water hole where they busted the line by my house. I got a big pile of sand there. They're not done doing the Caden construction. Is not doing the fiber all the way. They're not done on. I know that. But even Halleck, when they did the property and they put that dang grass that's full of weeds and all the sand itself, it's a big pile. I don't know. I think you probably see the pile of stone. If you look on my cement slab over on the property, it's still sitting there. All the garbage that was in there, and I've been putting up with this for a year from last year. It's going to be another year before they resolve all that garbage that they put on the road. I mean, it's down Lewis Street and down Lakeshore, the Lakeview, both sides. I did talk to Amy there, and she was down in Tennessee. She said she didn't know what was going on, so she sent the plant manager over. He looked at it, and he said, that's terrible grass over there. And it's part of the Howmet prestige, fixing of the landscape and stuff. And they left that for them to do it. I figured, well, Howmet has more clout than I have. I figured, well, let them, report it to us. So they talked to Brian. When they had the water problem, they turned around and he walked over and he seen the pile of stones and bricks and everything that I left over there. It hurt my back doing it. And he took the picture. He said, this is garbage for seed. I said, yeah, it's garbage. So Brian knows all about it. But just a little general conversation. I just want to let you all know about that. So what's going on my road?
Thank you.
Besides Wilshire. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak? If we have no further speakers, comments, then we're adjourned. Thank you for coming.